Good evening from Huff Hall here at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. It's Monday night women's gymnastics here as the Illinois Fighting Illini host the Michigan State Spartans in a Big Ten showdown. And here to take you through the action, streaming on Big Ten Plus, I'm Alec Gilmore. I'm joined by All-American and active team captain of the Illinois men's gymnastics team, Connor McCool. He will be providing us with a high-level insight of today's contest. Connor, it is a pleasure to share the headset with you once more. We're coming into a top 25 matchup here today that was postponed from a week and a half ago due to the recent tragic events on the Michigan State campus. There was a stoppage to all events. The Spartans are in their second meet, second competition since that stoppage, and in their first one, which was just 2 days ago, they set a program record score.
Absolutely.
197.65, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a big-time mark for this Spartan team. They're coming into good form and already great side, ranked 13th in the country now. I mean, this Michigan State team, that's got to be an amazing response.
Yeah, I mean, I think the theme for them is resilience. They could have let this stop their momentum. They were having a really good season going in, but had obviously the tragic incident on campus, delay of the practice and meet. They weren't able to practice for many days, and then they came in roaring at the Big Five competition in Nebraska, program record, and now they have momentum that they could have let kind of stop in the recent events. But absolutely beautiful performance from them. Watched the competition, and they looked exceptional, and they're really fighting. They want to be in contention to go to the NCAA championships this year. It's down to just 8 teams. It's super selective, but they're absolutely there. They defeated Michigan in a dual meet earlier this year, which is a massive upset for them. Really put them on the national map for this year. I'm really interested to see what they can put together. Just similar with Illinois, had a meet on Friday. They had one on Saturday, so quick turnaround for both teams. It'll be interesting to see who still looks fresh, who's able to handle that fast turnaround and travel. So.
Absolutely. You just saw their head coach, Natalie Walsh, for the Illini with the birthday sash. We kind of got the impression from her she doesn't love the extra attention there. So it is her birthday, but that is not on her mind right now. It is getting this team into winning ways. They did split at the Big Five to beat them. They defeated the other two, however. So they'll be coming in 24th in the country. They're in the middle of that Big Ten range right now, but they certainly want to go on that upward trend. What are the best ways that this Illinois team here in their final home meet for the month of February heading into March, what's on their minds right now? What do they want to get out of this meet?
Illinois is absolutely an extremely talented team. They scored multiple 197s last season, and they only lost one routine from that team. So they're the same team essentially as they were last year. So the theme for today is trying to put it all together. They've had really good meets. They've had good individual events, but they haven't had a complete meet yet where they go and they just dominate, do what they're capable of doing for every single routine. Getting the momentum from Vault 1 here with Abby Miller starting off is really important. If they could put together, 24 hit sets that are to their capability, that's going to be important momentum going into their last couple meets before the Big Ten championships, and then hopefully regionals and then NCAA championships if they can pull it off. So really, they want a complete meet today.
Now, for the Michigan State Spartans, you mentioned it just a minute ago, they are certainly in contention for maybe making a nationals run here tonight. They are in contention for winning the Big Ten regular season title. They are right in the thick of things. A big-time result at the Big Five meet definitely boosted them to that. There's head coach Mike Rowe hoping to get that result going their way for the Spartans. That would certainly aid them in their efforts going into March and the postseason. And so that may be on the minds of the Spartans. Are you thinking about that? Maybe winning the Big Ten if you're on this Michigan State team, or are you just wanting to hit every single routine, forget everything else? What is the mindset for
It's absolutely on the team's mind today. They want to get a ring. That's absolutely an important aspect of today. They know the Big Ten championship will be competitive. They've locked themselves into the evening session, which is the more competitive session. It's pretty difficult to get a win in the Big Ten championships out of the afternoon session, so they've done that. That's important. They want to contend for the postseason title, but the regular season title is very important, and they haven't. I don't believe they've won one since that has started in women's gymnastics, so that'd be a really big thing for their program. Just 2 years ago, they were stopped midway through season due to COVID, couldn't finish the season, and now they're here ranked 13th in the country and making runs for conference titles and NCAA championships. So they want to prove that they're exactly as good as they think they are.
That COVID stoppage is one that you are familiar with yourself, Connor.
Yeah.
So certainly a long way for both of these teams since then, but definitely on the minds of these seniors and entire year members on the minds of those gymnasts. So as we're a little over a minute away from the first rotation getting underway here on the vault right in front of us for the Illini, it will be Abby Miller, Julia Waite, Michaela Green, Kaden Fitzgibbon, Mia Towns, and then anchoring will be Rutuja Nadaraj. We'll also see an all-arounder performance from Mia Takakawa. She and Abby Miller will be all-around performers today. As for the Michigan State Spartans, it'll be Nia Smith. Lauren Sue is a late addition to the lineup. Skyla Schulte, Sage Kellerman, Nikki Smith, and Gabby Steven will all be scored. And it'll be Skyla Schulte, Nikki Smith, and Gabby Steven, the usual suspects for these Spartans that will be competing in the all-around. So we're about 30 seconds away from getting things started in rotation number 1. And you can see there the Illini preparing on the vaults, the Spartans getting warmed up on the bars meanwhile, the uneven bars right there. So in just these final seconds here, again, it was a program record score that Michigan State, an already solid team, is coming off of here. Again, that was a little over 48 hours ago over in Lincoln, Nebraska. They've made their long journey here, and it's been quite the journey in the last couple of weeks for the Spartan team, but in excellent form that they are hoping to continue here today. So as the final seconds tick down on that transition period, Abby Miller is getting set to get things underway on the vault for the Illini. So just in these final moments here, it'll be final words of encouragement for Abby Miller, the junior this year, and again, one of the all-arounders entering all-around competition this year. And once again, just the final step. She's stretching out, looking to get the attention of the judges, and then Abby Miller gets her number called in the arena.
Absolutely.
To lead off here.
Abby's a consistent leadoff. They use her just about every meet. She's going to show us a full twisting Yurchenko. You'll see a lot of those today. Hopefully keep a stretch body and a stuck landing just about.
The tiniest bit of a hop on the landing, but that's all the major fault you can find with Abby Miller's lead off vault. You saw the career high there of a 9.875. Important to get that high score early if you're Illinois against this favored Michigan State team. With that, it'll be on the uneven bars. The Spartans will get started there.
Star all-arounder Skyla Schulte showing off. Does a Shaposhnikova up to the high bar. A little bit of a trouble. Barely got her fingers on the bar, but did really well to keep going. She's going to get all the bonus she needs for a 10-0 start value. And she's got a gorgeous double layout. Hopefully she can get a stick to kind of earn back some of the deductions she lost. Tiny slide, but decent start for them. They're going to probably want to drop that score. It's going to be in the lower, maybe 9.6 to 9.7 range. Slower start maybe for both teams than they would have wanted. Abby Miller, decent vault, but the hop forward tends to be penalized more by the judges. And that's going to be shown in the score, 9.725 for Abby Miller.
So certainly not the ideal way to get things started. Could have been a lower score, but a 9.725 is how Illinois opens things up. We'll get the Michigan State score and Skylar Schulte's routine in just a moment. In the meantime, Julia Wade will be vaulter number 2 for the Illini, taking her final steps, final breaths before she begins her run-up.
She's piggybacking off of a career high at the Big 5 competition of a 9.875 with a stuck Yurchenko half. This is a little bit different from Abby Miller. One less half twist, but it's a little harder to land because you can't see the ground. See what she can do. And she does just about the same vault. That is what Illinois needed, get the momentum going. That will definitely notch up higher than Abby Miller's starting score. It'll be really interesting to see the tone the judges set with the scoring. There's some tighter judges, there's some looser judging. So we'll see what the judges that here today are going to provide for us. Some meets this year have been surprising with the scoring they're willing to throw. So very intrigued to see what kind of judging we see today.
We'll be eager to see how Julia Waite fared with the judges on that one. We saw a 9.825 to open things up for Michigan State, a little bit higher than we were expecting.
Quite honestly, yeah, I'm quite surprised. She had quite a large leg separation on the first release move and was short on a couple handstands. So seems like the bar judges are a little bit looser than the vault judges today. As long as it's consistent, that's okay, but need to be taking the proper deductions if they're there. Gabby Steven is a star all-arounder for Michigan State. Started with a Maloney up to the high bar, clear hip to bail. Really well done. See, I think she may have missed a handstand in the beginning, and that one was also short. So the judges should take half a tenth to a tenth for those. She's going to finish with a sky-high full twisting double back. And
looks like she got the stick on the dismount.
That's a tough one. She held control for a little bit, but didn't show complete control So they really should take a deduction for her lack of control. Won't get any step deduction, but we'll see. From that first score from Skylar Schulte, maybe they'll give her the benefit of the doubt today.
With that, it'll be Michaela Green stepping up next for the Illini. It was a 9.75 that she earned at the Big Five. It was her first appearance in 2 weeks, and she'll be looking to get another good one here.
Big returner for them. Great Yurchenko full. You saw the lines that are now down the landing mat. Those are new for this season to kind of give the judges a little bit of frame of reference to whether the vault was down the center of the mat, which is a deduction if you're off to the side. So they now know, like, if you're over the line, that you were off center. It's a little harder to tell from where they're sitting. So
now it is a different deduction, 1 foot versus 2 feet across the line. Is that correct, or is it the same?
Actually, in women's, it's not. Men's gymnastics, it is 1 foot is 1/10, 2 is 3/10. But for women's, it's actually not an auto deduction. It's just used as a kind of guideline for the judges to see where they were at. So they will take a deduction for it. It was a big vault otherwise. But yeah.
With that, it'll be Olivia Zarmani getting off for the Michigan State Spartans. A 9.825, by the way, for Julia Waite right before.
She's got a really unique combination here. A Maloney directly to a Ginger between the bars. You don't see it too often. Little bit lacking in amplitude, but she managed to make it work. And a double layout dismount, quite a big step back. So the smaller steps will be 1/2 That one was larger. It's a 1/10 to a 10.5 if they wanted to. But a really unique routine. I like the variety in the Michigan State lineup.
There's another look at the dismount right here from Zarmani. Under the watchful eye of head coach Mike Rowe.
Caden Fitzgibbon showing off a Yurchenko full. Could she put it down? Unfortunately, that was quite short. They're going to deduct her pretty heavily for that landing.
Yeah, you could see she had a lot of weight leaning forward, and that looks like it misplaced her left foot. So Caden Fitzgibbon, who is coming off of a bit of a career day herself from this past weekend, certainly we'll look for things to improve from that vault, but we'll be eager to see her on floor. She'll be a staple of this Illinois team throughout the evening. We'll await the scores. We saw Michaela Green at a 9.775, I believe, was what was shown. We'll get confirmation as soon as we have it. Gabby Stephen a 9.875 on the bars. So in this first rotation, the vault, you would imagine, gets the slight edge in terms of just naturally how high the scores are, but Michigan State off to the much better start here.
Yeah, vault, there is less skills done. It's just one vault, so scores can tend to be higher, but also most people here will be doing a 9.95 start value vault, so there is a little bit of a disadvantage. Illinois will be showcasing 2 today, and Michigan State, I believe, also has 2. They're going to have Nikki Smith and Sage Kellerman, so it'll be interesting to see how those score, because if the more 10-0 start values you get, the edge is important.
In the meantime, Jory Jackard nearing the end of her uneven bars routine that has gotten the spirit of the Spartans.
Struggling to find the landings a little bit today, apart from Gabby Stephen.
Yeah, she leaned just a little bit back there, prevented the stick, but
a nice giant full into double tuck.
Absolutely.
Got the handstand on top. That one's a more difficult one. We're going to gear over to Mia Towns on vault. Coming off a little bit of a, to her standards, weaker vault of a 9.775, but this is going to be the first look at a 10-0 start value. Yurchenko 1.5 twist. Difficult to stick because it's a blind landing. You don't get to see the ground until your feet are essentially on it. So let's see what she can do. I saw her warm up a stuck one in the 4-minute touch.
An NCAA qualifier in the vault last year.
Beautiful. Really well done.
Just
little hop forward.
Hops, but absolutely a fantastic vault. Got a lot of air under that one, and the technique looked very sound there for Mia Towns.
Yeah, a little bit of soft knees in the air, and she skirted with that corridor line there, but she didn't land over it, which is important. You're allowed to step over it, but it's the landing over it that will kind of show the judges where you're at. Big 9.9 for Jory Jackard. The bar judges are feeling it tonight. She did have a big step, but they really thought the rest of the interior of the team was great.
I was just going to say, that was all the error they could find. It's all I could find, albeit.
Nikki Smith is showing off a beautiful Maloney to Pax Salto. She is a freshman phenom for them. Really highly talented recruit. Sister of Nia Smith, who's also a senior on the team. A beautiful handstand there. She's going to show off a huge dismount for us. Hopefully to a stuck landing, double layout, and a sizable hop. My guess is these judges are taking half of the 10 for that today. But if 9.9 for Jory Jackard, that's going to be right there.
And it's great work there from Nikki Smith. As you said, the younger of the two Smith sisters. One of 2 sets of sisters on this Michigan State team, but Nikki Smith, like you said, freshman phenom, and this hasn't even been one of her better events. She's had a lot of high scores throughout. She is
vault
One of
and
our
floor
all-arounders today.
are her events. But we're looking at Rutu Nataraj. She is having herself a year so far. Going to show us a Yurchenko 1.5. She sat it down on Friday, so hopefully she can get it to her feet today. Illini need it. Just did the full twist today. Interesting decision probably from vault coach Ross Thompson. But really nice vault. A little bit off center and a bit of a hop, but strategic decision by the coaches there.
Should at least be, I would venture, maybe a mid 9.8, something like that from Nataraj. Not
Hope
a bad
so.
vault from her. And
Just a 9.85 or 9.95 start value, excuse me. So we'll see what they come up with there. They've been a little bit tight on vault, just a 9.85 for Mia Towns. Some other judges would have seen that notch into the 9.9, but we're seeing Delaney Harkness on the uneven bar. She is their anchor, a beautiful Ginger, and then bail down to the low bar. She has excellent lines. A lot of people wouldn't have made that handstand on top, but she finessed her way up there anyway into a great half and half out. Stuck the landing. Didn't get her heels together, which is a requirement. She landed 1 foot in front of the other. So they might still take a deduction for her, but she definitely did not take any steps.
Well, Delaney Harkness was confident about her bars routine. Last year she shared the title when she played the Illini with a 9.9. Maybe not quite that high, but it was a solid routine. Now here's one of our Illinois all-arounders in Mia Takakawa.
Full twisting Yurchenko. We saw a couple of these already today, and really well done. That's going to be in the exhibition spot, I believe. So
It is indeed, it is indeed.
unfortunately, the Illini would have loved to have that in their lineup because they're going to have to count a couple scores in the 9.7s, and that probably will notch into the 9.8. So a sub-49 starting score for Illinois. Not quite what they wanted, but vault has never been there. This is not their best event. They know that the uneven bars and beam is where they can really make a difference and hopefully get an edge over Michigan State.
Unofficially, it's a 48.75 for the Illini after their vault rotation. Michigan State a 49.25. Here's exhibitionist Tori Loomis to close things out for this first rotation of the day for Michigan State.
Exhibition spots are super useful to get people competition experience and kind of just understand what it feels like to compete and how you react personally. That was a nice straddled Jaeger. Really aggressive, went for the handstand. Sometimes you don't tip over the wrong way, but she did well to fight. Pack Salto a little bit dead, and I didn't think she was going to make it over the bar on that pirouette, but she did really well to stay tight and get it done anyway.
Showing great fight in this routine.
Absolutely.
These final techniques for the
Full twisting giant right on top of the bar and a double tuck, stuck. Definitely some really good pieces in that routine. A couple little handstand issues, but I appreciate how aggressive she was going for the perfect handstands, which some people are a little bit apprehensive to do because if you fall over the wrong side, then it's a much bigger deduction than if you maybe did the handstand a little bit short.
Well,
so,
especially in the exhibition slot. I mean, you like the ambition. Tori Loomis, a senior this year of Corinth, Texas, and she was going for it on that routine, and you'd like to see that. And we'll
absolutely,
see what she scores, but I think she'll be rewarded for it.
The coaches want to see someone that's not apprehensive in the competition. They want to know that you're going to do the exact same thing you do in practice, and you're not scared to really go for perfection. That's important, especially for a team who is challenging for such high ranks as Michigan State is. So really impressive 49.35. Be interesting to see. The vault judging does appear to be tighter, so as they flip-flop, Illinois is a very talented bar team, so after these first two rotations, we'll really have a good idea of where the teams are at. But Michigan State also has some incredible vaults. They only have 2 10-0 start values, but between Skyla Schulte, Gabby Steven, they have some massive 9.95 capable Yurchenko fulls. Gabby Stevens got 2 herself, perfect scores on the Yurchenko full. So be really interested to see if they can get their landings down. They're going to expand the lead over Illinois.
It's a 9.775 for Tori Loomis. Again, just an exhibition, so it won't count toward the Michigan State total, but as you said, a 49.35 for the Spartans is going to get them the lead after this first rotation. We're going to have a brief transition period as the teams reverse roles, and we'll take a short break here. We'll be right back in just a moment here on Big Ten Plus. We welcome you back to Big Ten Plus. Alec Gilmore, Connor McCool on the call here from Huff Hall at the University of Illinois. The Fighting Illini hosting the Michigan State Spartans. Just off screen, the Illinois men's gymnastics team is featuring, most of them anyway. Connor, you're usually among the supporters of Illinois. Obviously today, you're completely neutral.
Right.
You've
obviously.
never been on an Illinois team in your life in
Never.
terms of supporting them. We're completely neutral and unbiased here.
Right. Exactly. Honestly, this Michigan State team is really easy to root for. Seeing their surge in the national standings in the past 3 seasons has been so impressive. You saw at the beginning that Mike Rowe, as head coach, didn't have a winning record, but in the past 3 years, I bet that is not the case. They are on fire these past 2 seasons. A whole new team. They've gotten some stellar recruits, and I'm really interested and excited for the future of Michigan State Gymnastics because they are unbelievable, super talented, super polished, and produce some wonderful gymnastics.
They have a lot of great leaders in the upperclassmen ranks, and then a lot of these freshmen have made a lot of appearances. Nikki Smith, the main one among those. Skylar Schultz, another all-arounder, just a sophomore this year. Like you said, there is a very bright future for this 13th ranked Spartan side. And then as for the Illini, we talked about it at the beginning of the meet, but not a lot of changes compared to last year. They're aiming a little bit higher than they achieved in the previous campaign, and here they are. They sit at 24th right now, and the Illini behind after this first rotation. Excuse me.
Yeah, Illinois is looking for a big number here today. They've struggled a little bit finding some consistency in their routines. They got a season high at the Big Five meet, so that's exciting, but with other teams doing really well and surging in the national rankings, they're struggling to keep up. So hopefully, with another good performance today, they can really push themselves up higher in the NQS rankings, which is an average of 5 scores. You can only count maximum 2 home, unfortunately, so it does even out the playing field, so home scoring can't really be an advantage. But hopefully a good score today. They did start off a little bit slow on the vault, but a good performance on these last 3 events could really change the game. They're very close to notching that 197 mark at the Big Five meet with a little bit of a struggle on a couple of routines, particularly bars at the end. So I'm very intrigued to see how this bar rotation goes. If they can put down some landings, they can really notch into the high 49.25 plus, maybe even the 49.4 range. Their program record, I believe, is 49.475 set last year at Kentucky. So if they can get that number today with some beautiful swingers like Mallory Mizuki, Olivia O'Donnell, or Mia Takakawa, of course, that can really help close the lead in between Michigan State and them. But Michigan State has some unbelievable vaulters, so it's going to be a really tight rotation, and we'll see just kind of where they stand at the halfway point.
Goodness. Connor, that was so rude of me to just completely drop out there for a couple minutes. I appreciate you taking over there, and with a couple minutes to go in this touch rotation here, can't lie to you, I didn't pick up everything you were saying. I was having a bit of a fit individually, but
no worries.
I did pick up, I mean, like you said, a lot of talent. We'll see some high-level vaults, a lot of, and you said how many? It was 2 10
start values, but the full twists that they do are unbelievable and, you know, almost the same as a 10 start value. They can get a perfect score. A 995 is a 995 no matter how you cut it. Doesn't matter if it's a perfect Yurchenko full or a Yurchenko 1.5 with a small deduction. So I don't know if the viewers could see out of the corner, but I just watched Nikki Smith drill a Yurchenko 1.5 in the touch warm-up. She can repeat that. That is going to notch well into the 9.9s, maybe even threat for a 10-0 score. So hopefully she can. She has good muscle memory and can repeat exactly what she just did there. Sage Kellerman just stuck her different 10-0 start value vault, but it was pretty stunning. Let's get some replays.
Getting a look here from the first rotation between these two teams, and once again the official score is Michigan State with a 49.35 on the uneven bars. Per my completely unbiased partner, it looks like some rather friendly bars judging, and then on the vault a 48.975. Michigan State, no doubt about it, off to a great start, but still plenty of gymnastics to be done. We have about 15 seconds in this touch warm-up period before we get underway for rotation number 2. You mentioned Nikki Smith. We saw her in the warm-up. She had a 9.95 at their Big Five meet. It came in second place. Just to give you an idea of just the unbelievable gymnastics on display this past weekend in Lincoln.
Yeah, all Big Ten teams in action, 5 against each other at once. The way Big Ten is such a stacked conference in gymnastics, specifically for the regular season, it's hard to fit that many meets in because gymnastics is such a taxing sport. Can't really do double headers like you do in other sports. So they have the Big Five meets. So you meet 5 teams in dual meets, and then the other 5 you see in the Big Five meet, and that'll help determine the regular season title, who wins that, and also the seeding for the Big Ten championship. So it's a very consequential meet. If you have a good day, you can really change the upend the Big Ten standings. Nebraska, for instance, had a season high, got second place at theirs, and they haven't really had a spectacular season yet.
Here is the older of the Smith sisters, and Nia Smith, a senior this year of West Bloomingfield, Michigan, and she will get things underway on the vault for the Spartans.
With a big full twisting Yurchenko and a stuck one. Didn't quite get the heels together. She tried, but almost got stuck on the mat. But that's what I'm saying. That was their lead-off vault. And a lot of teams would be happy anchoring with that. That was stunning. If that doesn't notch into the 9.9s, I will be very upset.
I mean, that was outstanding.
That was absolutely gorgeous. So much height, beautiful body position. Looks like that right foot might have slid, so I'm not going to give it a perfect stick tonight. But I'm very interested to see what they go with. Seeing here is super senior Rachel Borden leading us off on the uneven bars. A nice cow hop to handstand, into a straddled Jaeger, down to the low bar with a shoot over. A little bit of a knee bend you notice there, but really nice combination. Right on top of the bar, very aggressive. Might have just over-tipped it a little bit into a unique Rudy dismount.
And I think she
and that was stunning. I have to be honest with you, I just saw them flash a 9.825 for Nia Smith, and I do not understand. They were quite tight for Illinois on vault.
My goodness.
Mia Towns got a 9.85 for a very well done. Yurchenko 1.5, but I really do not know where one of the judges found a 10.5 off of a beautiful vault. But Lauren Shu is going to come up next. This is her season debut, I believe.
I do believe you are correct.
Yurchenko for herself, and it was beautiful in warm-ups. Beautiful again, large hop. Interested to see where the judges go on that, because Nia Smith was a 9.825. That probably should have been 9.65. I know they're not going to do that.
Judging by the judges' standard, I mean, we'll see what happens there. She
as long as
late inclusion in the lineup, so certainly happy to get the competition.
Yeah, it was a stunning vault, just a large hop, which Nia Smith didn't have. Very similar quality in air, but the landings just were not the same. So hopefully they're ranking them properly. It looks like 9.775 already up for it, so that's an appropriate score. It's a very similar vault, just with the slide.
So with that, we're going to see Abby Miller in her second event of the day has already been on the vault, earning herself a 9.725. So she'll hope to build on that score in her all-around campaign today.
Abby's getting what we call iced out. The judges taking a little bit of time to put up the number, standing there kind of with your thoughts. It's not a fun feeling, but she is a cool competitor. With her making her bars debut this year, hopefully she can show us a good one. Pretty good handstand for going into her straddled Jaeger. Nice little bit in close on the bar. The judges will take for that. Almost got the handstand there. Nice bail, though, to recover back. Finishing up, she has a big double layout dismount with one final handstand, and I'm going to call that one on top. Hopefully she can get a little bit of a stick for us, because a couple deductions we've seen in this routine almost just needed to be a little bit more patient on that landing, and she probably could have gotten it, but pretty nice routine. They're happy with it. Not a bad routine by any means.
Just that little bit of movement on her right foot, all that you could find fault. 9.85, by the way, for Rachel Borden. So it was a very strong bars routine. I don't know how much you can attribute to friendly judges, but with that,
Skyla Schulte does another beautiful Yurchenko full and drilled into the ground. The judges might hit her. Her chest was a little bit forward. They really want you standing up and down, straight up and down, regardless if maybe that's the safest way to land. That's the way the judges want it.
I think judging by what we've seen today, I think they're going to be a little bit harsher.
It seems like it. That one, again, for me, would have been in the 9.9 range, but I'm going to guess it's going to be right around what Nia Smith scored, maybe a touch higher, because she did. That was a solid stick. There was really no foot movement, so she left no doubt for the judges to know that that was drilled in the ground, and there's no issue. But I'm wrong again. I'm seeing the judges. One judge gave that a 9.8, so she did hit the chest a little bit harder. So 9.825, same as Nia Smith. These vault judges are hard to impress, but they got some 10-0 star values coming up, so maybe that'll change their minds a little bit.
In the meantime, it'll be Caitlin Ewald, uneven bars competitor number 3 for the Illini today. Ewald with a season-high 9.875 at the Big 5 meet this past weekend. She's been a mainstay of the floor rotation for the Illini in these past couple of seasons. The junior of Newburgh, Indiana. Just a couple extra moments here, as you mentioned it earlier. She's getting it iced out just like her previous teammate.
It appears there was some sort of judges conference. If you are wider than a 2 tenths between the judges, they have to discuss and kind of figure out where they were different, because they want the scores to be relatively similar. So it seems like maybe either there's a start value issue or something, or maybe one judge found a lot more than the other. They need to have that discussion and make sure they're within a certain range. That's probably what was happening there. But a 9.825 for Abby Miller, I believe, is a career high. So very exciting for her. But Katie Ewald mounts the uneven bars with a beautiful handstand into a nice straddled Jaeger, and it was pretty stunning. Another handstand just about on top. into a pack salto. This is a tough handstand on the low bar, pirouette, and she got it. So she's going to finish up with a full twisting double back. She got the stick at the Big 5 meet. Hopefully she can do that again. Her career high is into the 9925 from her freshman season. She can do it again. Oh, so close, just a little bit. Once again, the patience, digging those toes in, really fighting for it, was very close. Seems to be a little bit not too comfortable with the landings today. Sometimes you try a little bit too hard and it kind of messes you up a little bit, but next on vault we have Sage Kellerman. This is a new vault we haven't seen today from anybody. It's a front handspring entry vault, so she won't do the round off back handspring on. She'll enter forwards and go front pike with a half. It's a 10-0 start value. And
she was close
wow.
to the table, but
yeah, a little bit close to the
landing.
table, so they will take for distance. These judges absolutely will. But really well done vault. Nice height. It's a more popular vault being done in the NCAA because they devalued the Yurchenko full I guess 7 years ago now. But some teams are still recovering, trying to figure out how to get a full lineup of 10-0 starts. Quite well done, really clean in the air. And the 985 comes through for Katie Ewald as well. That one little hop cost her that 9-9, coveted 9-9 range, but Mallory Mizuki is going to be next for the Illini.
Outstanding gymnast in Mallory Mizuki, technically sound in her gymnastics.
Her uneven bar is some of the best technique in this competition. Look at that first handstand, what dreams are made of, into a beautiful, massive pike Jaeger. Really put it on the bar. She didn't want to miss that release today, but so they're going to deduct for it, but better than falling, I suppose. And a nice bail to the low bar. She's going to finish with a giant full into double tuck. Really needs to get the landing to kind of recover the score. Giant full pretty close on top. Double tuck. And unfortunately he's going to sit it down. That is pretty unfortunate. Good for Illinois is that they do have 3 solid scores under their belt and a couple of veterans following up the remainder of the lineup. So hopefully that will be the score they're going to want to drop.
To this point, the Illini were, you would imagine, pretty happy with this uneven bars rotation after a vault that didn't quite go their way, not quite achieving the 49 mark. They do get to drop the score. We'll see how they fare for the rest of this one. In the meantime, Nikki Smith
booming 1.5. She's stuck in a warm-up. Can she do it again? And she wanted it badly. You could tell she was going for the stick. It's bold. That kind of vault is really easy to sit down. So beautiful height, beautiful in the air, but just a little bit of a slide back. Once set, like I said, the hops away from the rotation or direction you're going are going to be deducted more heavily. So a blind landing like that, a hop back, will be deducted heavier, or a normal traditional landing step forward will be deducted heavier. So that one probably will be at least a 10th, maybe 10th.5, but the remainder of that vault was just so stunning. It'll still score quite well. Olivia O'Donnell, senior, just quintessential bar worker. She is so consistent and it's beautiful. And unfortunately, I just jinxed her off the bar.
Yeah,
that's going to be tough for Illinois. I believe that is the second bar routine she has ever fallen on in her career as an Illini.
She has competed in every single meet of every single year she's been a part of this team. A senior this year, Olivia O'Donnell. Now, a bit of a rare sight. We'll see her, I believe it's 30 seconds that she gets at the chalk.
45 in women's gymnastics. They changed that rule a little bit a few years ago. But yeah, she clipped her foot on the bar, and I think that kind of caught her off guard. So her hands were on the bar, but I think she just wasn't quite prepared to grab.
Well, with the 9-3 from Mallory Mizuki following her failed dismount, that's going to be a tough one for Illinois to swallow. But the big thing here, if you're Olivia O'Donnell's, finished as strong as possible here.
Yeah, unfortunately, she does have a release combination, so she needed to repeat, but she did it perfectly there. Really nice Jaeger to bail. She's such a good bar worker and so consistent. It's unfortunate to see you see her hold that handstand. You got to be a little bold to do that. Unfortunately, really was going for perfection on the giant full there. So, gonna fall again. They're gonna count Mallory Mizuki's 9-3, which for a routine with a fall is honestly not too terrible. Obviously not ideal for the Illini. Struggling a little bit on the uneven bars, which is unfortunate because this is usually one of their stronger events. They have veteran Mia Takakawa coming up. Hopefully she can stop the bleeding a little bit for them.
Well, you can only imagine what's on the mind of Olivia O'Donnell right now as she convenes with the chalk once more to basically go up and then come right back down. But
just has the dismount left in combination. Unfortunately, this is a tough pill, as you said, for Illinois to swallow, but they've got 2 more events. As we remember last year, they still were able to notch a 197 counting a fall last year, so who knows what can happen in the remainder of this meet. And we don't know what Michigan State will do on the remainder of 2 events. So as an athlete, counting a fall is hard, but remaining resilient as a team and keeping everybody on track to do what they're capable of doing, and that this meet is not lost. We do not know what's going to happen in the last 12 routines for Michigan State. 13 with Gabby Stephen. She has a beautiful Yurchenko full. We're going to pivot back to the 995 start value, but if you're going to do a Yurchenko full, better look like this. She's gotten 2 perfect scores personally, and you can see why with the height, distance, and form. Small slide. But for me, I have no other deductions by that slide. If she stuck, I would have called that a 995. But
almost a carbon copy of her one this past week, and a 9.925 she scored there. I imagine we'll see a similar score following what we just saw there.
I hope they're willing to reward, because really she does it better than everybody else in every category. They want height, she had it. They want distance, she had tons of it. They want good form, good body position. Her hips were open, and she's flared her body at the end. Just a small slide. Looks like the judges did reward a 9.9, so essentially just the 9.875, excuse me. So, oh my, 9.9, 9.8 split. So one judge found a whole 10th.5 off that vault. If I were the vault coach,
to surprise us.
yeah, if I were the vault, I'd be asking for a routine summary to know just what they took, because every coach is within their right to ask the judges to basically just tell us, what did you deduct? So a lot of times they'll utilize that. I'm sure the Michigan State coaches will have some questions to what they need to work on this week, because these are tough critics.
It's an 8.6 for Olivia O'Donnell, so uncharacteristic from her. Mia Takakawa will now take the bars, and another one of these incredibly brilliant gymnasts. She had a couple of her falls herself last time here, but she's up to a great start.
Yeah, couple little errors she's had this year, but if I were going to pick someone to come up after a couple falls, Mia Takakawa would be my person. Look how aggressive she is on these beautiful handstands, and just a double layout to finish. She's improved the body position so dramatically and just about gets a stick. Kind of stepped out of it too quickly, so she's going to get a deduction. I was going to say that routine had no visible errors until that. If they went 9.95 for that, I would honestly be okay with it, because that was a stunning routine. She has similar to Gabby Stephen on vault, she has the best lines on the bars. Open shoulders, extended hips throughout the swing. Looks like we have
It is an exhibition, I believe.
Olivia Zarmani.
It is Olivia Zarmani, you are correct.
Yes. Seems like they scratched Bailey Garcia from the exhibition, but that was a beautiful Yurchenko full. The fact that they have this many stunning vaults is super impressive. This is their storage. This is who they have extra. So they've got depth for days apparently on vault, which is very impressive. A lot of teams do struggle to put up 6 really explosive vaults, but Michigan State had no problem today. That was beautiful.
They are top 10 in the country, 9th in the nation on the vault. It is their best event, tied for 2nd in the Big Ten as well. Strong vaulting team, a strong routine for Mia Takakawa, gets a 9.85.
9.85. They probably should have taken a full 10th off the double layout landing, because she did take a step forward. Wasn't sure what these judges were going to do today, but they're well within their right to do that. It was an appropriate score. Amelia Knight coming off in an exhibition, a big ray, bail low. She has been trying to get this upgrade into the routine all year long, so super exciting to see her put her on the bar today. They missed her from bar lineup last year. Seemed to be the glue that held it together. Beautiful giant full and a massive double tuck. Went for the landing a little too hard, hop forward, but what was really important is she put that release on the bar and got that combination down. She can do a million double tucks to finesse the landing, but getting those numbers in of the new combination for her was really important. So maybe not too pleased with the ending there, but ton of confidence. She should be happy with getting everything down, doing a beautiful bar set for us tonight.
It won't be too long before we see Amelia Knight once more. She'll be leading us off on the balance beam for rotation number 3. In the meantime, we are going to step aside here. We are halfway through in this competition between Illinois and Michigan State. Well, actually, I beg your pardon, maybe just one moment. Are we going to see one more exhibition? It looks like we will from Michaela Green, I believe.
Yeah, perhaps Michigan State jumped the gun a little bit in rotating. But
they just went over to the vault, so that's why I began my transition. So my apologies to Michaela Green. We'll see what she can dial up for us and what I'm almost positive will be the final routine. Now I have
9.85, I believe.
A 9.8 something. I don't know if you guys could see. Yeah, you can see a 9.8.
9.80. Yeah, that's appropriate. A tenth at least on that dismount, probably a 10.5. So would have been. I mean, the rest of their team was superb. Michaela Green was a highly touted freshman last year. Unfortunately, suffered an Achilles tear, but Looking at Skylar Schulte, she is the #1 all-arounder for Michigan State. At their final JO Nationals, #1 and 2 in the all-around was Skylar Schulte, and then Michaela Green. So, unfortunately, had a little bit of struggle there on the low bar, but Michaela Green, they're really happy to have her back as an option for the lineup. She's super powerful and super good lines that Maloney to pack. Beautiful handstand on the high bar, and a giant full, little bit of a leg separation into the double back, but gets the stick. Just a small struggle, but she handled it extremely well. That's still a very usable routine as Illinois is still trying to find their stride and find the lineup that's best for them on uneven bars this year. So it's good that she's getting experience, and they know that she can fight through adversity. She could have really struggled and hopped off the bars if she wanted to, but no, she fought, she got it done, and she still stuck her dismount like it was nothing. So.
And even if it is an exhibition, I mean, that is a huge way to end the rotation with the stuck dismount, especially with Illinois staring at an 8/10 deficit unofficially at this point. You see the update on your screen there, a 98.45 for Michigan State. The Illini trailing with a 97.65, but still plenty of gymnastics on the cards. So now I think we're actually going to take a break here at Huff Hall for just a couple of moments as rotation number 3 gets set to get underway here between Illinois and Michigan State on Big Ten Plus. We welcome you back here to George Huff Hall here at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. The Illinois Fighting Illini hosting the Michigan State Spartans, who are once again in just their second competition following a stoppage of all athletic events. Following the senseless tragedy that occurred on their campus a couple of weeks ago. We continue to send our thoughts and prayers to all those affected with the Michigan State community. There's no way to respond to that, but to this, the credit of this team, this Michigan State team has shown incredible poise, strength, composure, resilience, and even beyond the scores, just to be here and continue to produce high-level gymnastics. It's been absolutely spectacular to see. On top of that, they've had an incredible score off of their first competition, and here off to another great start. Connor, as an active member of a college athletics team, just as a student, as an athlete, as a young person in day-to-day challenges, you yourself are a big mental health advocate, very vocal about that. You have been throughout your collegiate career.
Of course.
Just in day-to-day challenges, let alone having something like this tragedy that Michigan State has had to deal with, the day-to-day journey of a student athlete, I mean, it can be very taxing. Just a word on that kind of a journey that you have day-to-day.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, athletics is hard. It's a lot of time management. You have a lot of things you're juggling at once. Getting good grades, also in the gym 20+ hours a week, and then adding in the additional stressors that Michigan State has added on top of it. I'm quite frankly don't know how they had the mental fortitude to be in the gym a week later, let alone getting program records. So it's super impressive to see how they've handled this adversity. They've shown as a team they can handle adversity before in the past seasons due to various things. So it's been super impressive to see them just handle it and just keep going and really bond together as a team and rise up. It's really awesome.
And we're continuing to see just what they are capable of. A team that is definitely with eyes on nationals and further competition on top of that. With everything they've dealt with this past season, it's been absolutely remarkable to see what they've done. And in these first 2 rotations, they've been off to a great start, even in competitors like Lauren Shu, who wasn't even a mainstay of this team. She was included today, but everybody from there to the most experienced. The Illini have had some good routines as well. Michigan State have had the edge, however. Just another look at these second rotation highlights once more. But we continue to see high-level routines.
Some massive vaults from that Michigan State squad. Didn't get enough love from the judges, in my opinion, but as long as they're even to all the competitors on both teams, it's okay. But seeing in some other competitions around the country, it does get unfortunate because the scores do matter. They qualify people to regionals, so if other conferences or other teams are getting higher scoring and some meets might be lower, could have a potential effect on bubble teams. Fortunately, both teams here, Illinois and Michigan State, are well within the top 36 who are going to be making regionals, but top 16 is the seeded spot. It's important. Teams want that, so you want favorable judging. You want to earn it. It's best for the sport is that you do gymnastics that gets the scores it deserves, but that doesn't seem to be the case sometimes in a lot of meets this year. So you want it to be even so everyone has the equal shot, but you also want them to take the proper deductions. It's definitely a tough balance to strike. As a fan, you want to see the big scores, but as a person who really understands the sport and as a gymnast yourself or fans who really understand the technical side, you want deductions to be taken. You want the
real scores.
Yeah, you want the routines that are well done to be rewarded, and the ones with issues to be given the scores it deserves. So it's definitely hard. Seems like we're going to lead off with Amelia Knight, a beautiful beam worker hailing from the United Kingdom.
You're seeing Coach Natalie Walsh, I think, trying to summon the attention of, I think it was Kaylin Ewald, just to help manage things here in rotation number 3. The birthday celebrator, Natalie Walsh, who has, I see, disposed of her birthday sash that she was donning earlier. And then, of course, Amelia Knight, as you were saying, the international representative for these Illini. She salutes the judges, and we get underway here in this second half of competition.
A risky mount starting off there. It's called a candle mount, named after a athlete from the United Kingdom as well. It's worth a D, so that's going to give her a 10th of bonus. You need 6 to start out of a 10. She got 1 just by entering the beam. Most people just kind of hop right on just to get on safely. She takes risks from the very beginning of the routine. Nice choreography planned in here. She's going to start off with her leap combination, I believe. It's going to be a switch leap into a Sassone, looking for a 180-degree split, and I believe she did get that. Next, we're going to see her series. Every balance beam routine is going to have an dance and acrobatic series. This one's going to be a more unusual side aerial to back handspring, and it was stunning. Not a waiver. Most of her bonus is out of the way. She does have one new combination for her. It's going to be a beat jump into a side summy. Was rock solid at the Big 5 and was again today. She did fall on it a couple weeks ago at home against Ohio State, so happy to see some redemption for her. Full turn looks maybe simple, required for every routine, but those simple stuff that you don't maybe put the same mental attention to can really get you. New dismount for her. It's a gainer fall off the side of the beam, and it's stuck. What a lead-off routine for the University of Illinois.
She had a 9.875 at the Big 5, and like you said, after a 9.1 that included a fall against Ohio State, she had a great response, and I think she may have built on top of that. Again, a 9.875 at the Big 5. We will see how the judges are feeling on the balance beam.
And Illinois needs every single 10th on the balance beam. Michigan State is an unbelievable floor team, starting off with Nia Smith. Some ridiculous tumbling. You'll see tons of E passes. E is the most difficult skill you can do in gymnastics, and see a bunch of those. Nia Smith will not show us one, I believe, but she will show us a punch front into a double back, a combination for her first pass, and it is not lacking power. I promise you that. Your front tuck step out all the way through to a large double back, and that's a great landing. So for the landings you want to see, you're allowed to take that lunge back, but your first foot needs to stay planted. If you see any sort of slide, it can pivot, as Nia showed us there, but it can't leave the ground. That's when you're going to take a deduction. So that one, no deduction on that landing. And I'm going to tell you, 9.925 leadoff score for Amelia Knight. That is exactly what they're looking for. But pivoting back to Nia Smith, beautiful leaps. That's a switch side into a popa. You need to see 180-degree leaps. Every single routine is going to have a dance combination similar to beam. There's a 1.5 twist into a front layout. Stunning. Both teams are on right now. I want to say a 9.925 is probably a career high for Amelia Knight.
It is, in fact, a career
I'll say
high.
she has notched 9.9 before, but 9.925 is new for her, and that was deserved.
Her last 9.9 was at the Seattle Regionals last year.
What a time to do it.
And what a time to score a career high. Now Nia Smith going to finish strong.
Big double pike, hopefully. Huge set, stunning. Leadoff routines, that was unbelievable. So many teams in the country would take that as their anchor, and that's their leadoff. That's what I'm telling you about the Michigan State floor lineup. They've got 5 more routines just as talented as that. So Definitely, probably one of my favorite rotations in the NCAA is the Michigan State floor rotation with people like Nikki Smith, her sister, Skyla Schulte, Delaney Harkness, all doing E-passes. Gabby Stephen can really throw it down as well. But Mallory Mizuki coming up next, following a massive score. She's also notched the 9-9 marks before in her own right, so hopefully we can see another beautiful beam routine. I'm very interested to see where they go for Nia Smith. Full turn, covered potentially a waiver. Made it look pretty graceful to me, but we'll see her. She's going to lead off with her series. It's a more common one. Back handspring layout, step out, right on. Following, she had a little bit of a rough bar go with a fall, but getting her main focus out of the way with that back handspring layout. She's going to show us this is her dance series. There's a switch leap into a straddle quarter. Pretty well done. You could see her body was turned the quarter, but her feet weren't quite there, so they might deduct that a little bit, but still well done. Cat leap into the side aerial, gets her chest up right into the Sassone. She has got two constructions for her routine. If she gets that Sassone out of it, then she doesn't need to do an additional leap. So she got that done, and it makes her routine shorter and easier for her. She's going to finish her with a relatively easy gainer dismount and gets the stick. What a first two beam routines for Illinois. That was nearly the same quality as Amelia Knight. If that went 9-9, I would not be surprised.
That's a great way to start things off for Illinois. By the way, Nia Smith, a 9.875. You saw another look at the double pike that closed things out for her routine. Maybe the slightest bit of leg separations may have cost her the full 9-9, but
there absolutely were some deductions in that routine. The landings were well done. Her combination pass was a little bit, if you do a combination pass 2 in a row, you want the second one to be at least the same height as the first. She dropped down a little bit, had a little bit of a body shape pike, but so there were things to take, but it was a super well done routine and a great leadoff score for them. The judges tend to not want to throw high scores at the beginning, so she really set their team off well. It's got a lot of great tumbling to go.
Now Gianna Khalifi here up next for the Spartans on the floor.
She's a little bit more known for her beam work, but she is excellent on the floor as well. She's going to do a front double full as her first pass, just from a run, no front handspring. And a little bit of lack of control. It's interesting, she used the sting mat to punch off of, so you can either land on it or punch off of it, but not both. You can only have one on the floor at the time. So she chose to use it. It gives you, it's a little bit softer, a little bit extra bounce. 9.95 comes through from Mizuki, so this is making a run for this Michigan State team, down 8/10, but you never know. This is an interesting leap combination. Switch leap into the wolf full, into a switch side Sushanova down to the ground. Super interesting. She's got a good one going here. Did show a lot of control on that first pass. Hopefully on this second one she can bring it back. It's a fun one. Really one of my more favorite passes to Rudy, front 1.5 into a layout step out. Hopefully that layout step out flies. She can show some control here. Front 1.5 into a big layout step out, and she was out of bounds, but fortunately for her, the judges sit on the other side, so my guess is they did not catch it. At a more professional meet, you'll have judges who sit there solely just to lift the flag and show that they were out of bounds. I couldn't tell. She was in the corner. It went over in the side that no judge was sitting. I wonder if the replay will show a hand go up.
Didn't see anything.
I didn't see
it in-house. I think she may have gotten away with it there, but that was an explosive floor routine to attempt to match the unbelievable beam work by the Illini so far. Abby Miller up next, continuing her all-around campaign here.
Really confident beam worker. She just exudes preparation and confidence up there. Nice full turn. Really just such a complete competitor. Super talented on all the events. It's going to show us her back handspring layout, step out. Just a small bobble, but does well to minimize it to the best of her ability. Going to show how she's going to do her, I believe, leap combination. Excuse me. No, yeah, actually 2 switch leaps in a row. Well done. Might have been shy of the 180-degree split requirement on that second one, so they could take a small deduction, but not a bobble there. Khalifi comes in for the 9.85, keeping pace with the Illini, but if the Illini keep putting up 9-9 scores, who knows? That was a nice, smart move by her. She did a beat jump into the front toss. The connection was slow, so she did another one after that just to ensure she got the bonus she needs to start from a 10-0 start value. It's very important the athletes know what components contribute to their start value so they know how to make corrections if things go wrong. Nice 1.5 twist dismount. Just a small hop. Not going to notch into the 9.9s, but certainly not a bad routine by any means.
And as much energy as she carries in other parts of gymnastics, and certainly whenever she's cheering on her teammates, the confidence that she has in her beam routine, it's the most, I guess you could say, perilous rotation for any gymnast, but she has so much confidence in how she does it. Now, for Delaney Harkness making her second appearance of the day.
This is one of my favorite floor routines. She has a massive full twisting double back first pass. She is well familiar with the 9.9 mark on floor. Hopefully we'll see a massive and controlled full twisting double back here. This is one of 3 for the Michigan State team. I saw her warm up a couple great ones, and it was stunning. A little bit of a foot shuffle there, so I would guess the judges will take a little bit for that. Score comes through for Abby Miller. You might see in the background is a 9.825. Not quite matching the massive scores shown by Amelia Knight and Mallory Mizuki, but keeping it going for the Illini after a slow 2 first rotations, which is super important, keeping that momentum with their next Mia Towns, who's gotten some 9.9s in her own right. Another fun pass here. Switch leap into a big tour-jeté half into the full, wolf full. She shows off her line. She gets the 180-degree splits. The people that really have the undeniable leaps that are just, you really have to go beyond 180 degrees for the human eye to kind of detect just how well it's done. If you just get there, the judges still will probably take a deduction, so she really showed it off. The final pass is a front tuck through to a double back. And another chest forward and a little shuffle, so unfortunately didn't really get a perfect landing on either of those, but still will be a very usable score for Michigan State, and they'll be very happy with it. But the massive tumbling for them will really take her far. Gymnastics is a subjective sport, so when you see people who go above and beyond in difficulty, it does have an effect on the judges. So you'll see Mia Towns mount the balance beam.
Mia Towns once more. She had a 9.725 in the Big Five this past weekend.
9.925 at their last home meet. Career high for her. She is a very steady beam worker. Sometimes does struggle with the footwork. You'll see athletes with a little bit more pointed toes, straighter knees, but what she does is really solid and very consistent. She's going to start off with her switch leap into her straddle quarter. You saw that one was unfortunately short of the 180-degree split. The judges will take a little bit for that, a half a tenth to a tenth. A minor deduction. She's going to show off her routine is all about the acrobatics. She does a big front toss and a big combination in her back handspring layout step out. Here's the cat leap into a nice front toss, solid as a rock, typical Mia Towns style. Score comes through for Delaney Harkness, 9.825. So the judges did hit her on the landings a little bit. Back handspring layout step out, solid again. Just how Mia Towns does every single time. Full turn, not a waiver, and she's just going to finish off. She's got her dismount left. It's a new one. Judges changed the rule. A lot of people utilized a rule that said you could do an easier dismount if you did an acrobatic skill into it. So she used to do a side aerial into a back full. Now the judges said they want to see dismount regardless. So she had to switch from that aerial full to a 1.5. She has been sticking many of them this year, despite it being a blind landing. And once again,
I think she got it. She did. And head coach Natalie Walsh, the first to greet her. And then
beautiful routine. She just a little bit of that one leap but honestly, some of the deductions I normally see in her routine, the back handspring layout step out has a couple maybe not perfectly pointed toes or soft knees, but she really has clearly been working on the gym because they were far straighter and just better form overall today.
We're getting a shot right now of where Connor McCool normally would be for these meets.
Yeah.
The men's gymnast certainly happy to see her do well. Now for Gabby Stephen, for the Spartans to keep up with this highly intense third rotation.
Yeah, Gabby Stephen is a beautiful floor worker. She's going to show off some big tumbling here.
She took the joint title in her Big Five meet with a 9.95 and reached her 39.575 all around last weekend.
Yeah, she is a superstar all-arounder for them. Big front tuck step out into a double pike. Really well done. Just about controlled that landing.
A 9.9, by the way, for Mia Towns, so the high-scoring beam routines continue.
Wow, what leaps for Gabby Stephen. Beautiful switch half. The wolf full was massive. They like amplitude and, of course, the all-important 180-degree split, but she really went above and beyond on those. I'm noticing a trend with this Michigan State team is their dance elements are superior to some other teams. Mike Rowe, head coach, has a dance background, he's involved in the choreography as well. So not a shock at all by any means.
And not dissimilar to the Illini as well.
Similar with Natalie Walsh.
There.
Front double full dismount for Gabby Stevens. So there's a couple different bonus rules in effect for floor. If you finish your routine with a double flipping skill or an E skill, such as that front double twist, you get a 10th bonus. So she does it in her second pass or final pass, so that gets her 3 10s instead of the normal 2. And that's how she builds up to her 10-0 start value.
So
super well done.
Yeah, indeed. Incredible work there by Gabby Stevens once more. And now here is Rituja Nadaraj for the Illini, the sophomore of Wallingford, Connecticut.
And Rutu on beam has been super impressive for me this year. Last year she went in a couple times, tend to show a little bit of nerves, but she seems like a whole new athlete this year, just really confident and sure of herself. She knows she's going to go up and do what she's capable of. Here's a back handspring layout step out, and it was stunning. You can see a little bit of a head nod to herself, and she knows she really did that series quite well. She's really got some of the best execution on the team, so if they can figure out how to harness her capabilities, she's going to be a big one. Like those leaps right there, 180 degrees. You rarely find her without straight legs and pointed toes, so when she's on, she scores well. She's notched the 9.875 marks, this year, so definitely capable if she can get the landing down to notch in that 9.9 as well. They do a beat jump into a front aerial. We haven't seen one of those today, and it was stunning.
Sweetly done there by Nadaraj.
She's got the bulk of her bonus out of the way. Fortunately, through her complex combinations, the required full turn, a small bobble there, but nothing to be too worried about. Signature.
A little bit of flair
yes.
Right there.
Finishing off with her 1.5 twist. She can get the stick, and she does. That is stunning. And they needed that routine. Gabby Stevens just put up a 9.925 for that stunning floor routine. So that's, I would bet some money that will be a career high for Rutu. They're chanting 10. With that bobble on the full turn, I would expect the judges to not go there, unfortunately, today. But it was a stunning routine. Hopefully we'll notch another 9.9.
My partner, of course, says the betting part jokingly, everybody.
Doesn't
mean, of course.
Right.
Now here for
I'm not a betting man, but if I was.
Now for the younger of the Smith sisters.
Yeah, everyone
number 5 for the
really
Spartans.
tune in to just the choreography and the tumbling. Full twisting double back here. And it was massive. Perhaps a small slide on the landing. That judge closer to that corner will definitely take it. Maybe the farther judge wouldn't quite seen it, but I want everyone just to pay attention to the choreography in this routine. So much attention to just more complex movements than you tend to see in other routines.
I mentioned that Gabby Stevens shared her floor title from this past weekend with a 9.95. Here is who she shared it with, folks. So
that is normal for the Michigan State Spartans to be winning some floor titles, and it tends to juggle around the entire floor lineup. Anybody on any given day is capable of doing it. Going into her second pass is a 1.5 twist into a front layout. Like I said, you want that second pass to be at least the same height, and she did that really well done. And just let her shine. Beautiful. Just appreciate the expression and the emotion she shows in this routine. That's almost more difficult than the tumbling itself. If you're worried about doing your last pass and then you're also trying to smile and show off to the judges, that's not what I would be focusing on, so it's impressive. And a double tuck to finish. Stunning.
Beautiful, beautiful work by Nikki Smith.
This is just some incredible gymnastics going on right now between the balance beam routines. Illinois showing off 9.925 for Rutu Nadaraj, chanting 10 from the Michigan State team. I think that slide on the full in will probably notch her down a little bit, but that will be a 9.9 score as well.
So as of right now, it's a 49.525. So if you're counting those scores, that's a great score. But Mia Takakawa will be adding hers here.
Yeah, and she is just unbelievable on beam. She's obviously got 2 career perfect 10s, and she is just a stunning beam worker. Hits her 180s, perfect footwork, beautiful motion throughout the routine, great rhythm, side aerial into back handspring. And I don't know if anybody knows just how off she was, but she managed to, she are cheering for the Michigan State side. One judge threw a 10 for that, but it's going to be a 9.975, and I am not mad about it one bit. That was a beautiful routine. They got some good people coming next that could notch up, get that extra .025. But good, looking back at Mia Takakawa, that side aerial back handspring was incredibly off center, but her experience, she was able to pull it right back out without a wobble. They'll still probably take a deduction for the back handspring not being quite the way it should have been, a little bit off, but she A lot of people would have fallen off the beam there, and she did not. So that speaks to just her talent and her preparation in the gym.
And the poise of hearing the Spartans in the background as they celebrate their teammate's score. Mia Takakawa trying to put one up of her own as she's nearing her dismount with these final couple of techniques.
Yeah, she's going to do a back handspring gainer full. Hopefully can grab the stick, and she does. Only deduction I saw there was that little bobble. Probably not going to get the 10, but she did well. Like a lot of people would have been on the ground, as I said, on that series, but she managed to do it really without a waiver. Yeah. Super impressive.
I wasn't going to say anything until after the routine was over. Announcers jinx and whatnot. The last time Connor and I shared the headset, Mia Takakawa did earn one of her 2 perfect 10s, and I agree with Connor, maybe not quite reaching that mark today, but that stuck dismount capping an outstanding routine. And speaking of outstanding routines and gymnasts, Skyla Schulte will be closing it out for the Spartans on the scoreboard. So 3rd of 3 all-arounders to close out this rotation. It's another high score.
It's a 9.975. So one judge thought that she covered up that a little bit off-centerness enough. I mean, she didn't have a wobble, but it was a little bit awkward perhaps, but a quite well-done routine. And a full twisting double back for Skyla Schulte, maybe a little bit short, but I think we all should just be super grateful to see the gymnastics we're seeing right now, one after another.
The energy in the building is unbelievable right
Beautiful
now.
Leaps there, switch side, into popa, into straddle jump. If there's one athlete I would love to see get a perfect 10 is Skyla Schulte. She has not gotten one yet in her quite young career, being just a sophomore. She's plenty of time to fix that, but really good first pass with the full twist and double back. Judges might take a little bit for it being short, but 49.675. I need the Illinois SID to perhaps check the record books. That has got to be up there. That was so impressive and absolutely deserved. Very little wobbling going on. Front tuck to double back. Did well to keep that foot planted even though she's a little over-rotated. That's going to be another 9.9 score, so 49.45 unofficially for Michigan State, replacing a 9.85 for Gianna Khalifi, so they're going to be up in the 49.5 range too. Yeah, maybe 49.6.
That's the exact type of rotation that you want if you're Illinois to get back into it, but Michigan State just putting up some world-class.
Like I said, Illinois needed a special beam routine to keep up with the special rotation that is Michigan State floor. They gave it to us. That was stunning, but Michigan State also can hold their own and then some on the balance beam as well, so it's going to be a very interesting final rotation to see. But
here is the super-duper senior and Rachel Borden. Viral sensation, been a big part of this team for so long and was initially not one of the varsity gymnasts, if you like, but
she was on the club team, really just was doing gymnastics for fun, started working beam, realized that she could honestly contribute, was sending videos to Natalie Walsh, a nice unique series, interesting front aerial to front handspring to a straddle quarter, just a little bit unsure. It was really well done, just maybe not quite confident in it, not tight enough in the landing, but definitely just such a huge part of this program. Was nominated for the AAI award last year, which is the Heisman equivalent of women's gymnastics, before she decided she was going to take a final year with the team. Such a spiritual leader as well in the gym. Nice beat jump into the sheep jump. The score comes through for Skyla Schulte, 9.925. So the judges probably did hit her a little bit for that landing on the full end, but 9.925 is a score a lot of people would be very happy to receive, but the standard Skyla Schulte sets for herself, I'm sure she would look for a little higher. But a nice finish for the front full. But 49.55 for Michigan State. So Illinois gets 0.125, notched off that 8/10 deficit. But going to the last rotation is going to be an exciting one. The gymnastics level quality has just skyrocketed in the past rotation.
First, we will see Ella Beaufait, I do believe, for the Spartans.
Doing an exhibition.
Freshman of Columbus, Michigan.
She's going to show us a front double twist as well, punching off that sting mat like I mentioned. A little bit, just lost the legs a little bit on that landing. It was very close to being a well-done pass, just kind of leg gave out under her perhaps, but nice to know that in their exhibition spot they still have E passes. Some teams are excited about one. They've got more than they need for a lineup. That's a nice switch ring. The ring position goes past the 180-degree normal requirement. They want your heel all the way to the essentially your forehead. The restrictions or the requirements for it are quite ridiculous. A lot of people would be shocked that the flexibility required for that pass. But Nice 1.5 twist in the front layout here. Just a little bit unsure of the landings. Comes with just some more competition experience. That's what this exhibition spot's for. A couple more meets and those landings will probably be perfect because they nearly were today.
Just reaching the conclusion here in Bo Fate's rotation number 3 closing routine.
A little bit different of a style than the other routines. A little slower. Had very upbeat routines from the remainder of their lineup, but appreciate the change in pace. She's going to finish off with a Rudy. Once again, just the slight shuffle, and that's just going to come with experience. Those were all very well done passes. A little bit more confidence to really go for the landing perfectly.
That's exactly what you want if you're a freshman. She'll help feed on that energy here that the Spartans have generated on their end.
But as
of
a
the
young
facility.
freshman with an E-pass, getting this experience under her belt, super impressive. Super impressive to see the depth that Michigan State has on floor. They are just such a stunning floor team.
So a potentially record-breaking beam rotation for the Illini nets them a 49.675, but the Michigan State Spartans, an elite team on the floor, and a 49.55 to maintain an advantage, but still plenty of gymnastics. We have some of the most exciting floor routines in the country from the Illini against some incredibly graceful and solid balance beam routines for the Spartans. So don't go anywhere. We're on the verge of rotation number 4 here at Huff Hall between the Illinois Fighting Illini and the Michigan State Spartans here on Big Ten Plus. We welcome you back to George Huff Hall here between the Illinois Fighting Illini and the Michigan State Spartans. It has been a women's gymnastics spectacle. Although George Huff Hall is not completely full after that third rotation, it certainly sounded like it. We saw some unbelievable gymnastics from the Spartans on the floor and the Illini on the beam. In fact,
absolutely,
for Illinois, it is an event record of 49.675, bests their 49.525 that they set 2 years ago against Minnesota. So that is a big-time score for them that keeps them alive in this duel. But Michigan State continues their consistency at a world-class level. You'll see it from both teams here on the floor for Michigan State.
I would have thought I was at the NCAA championships with that last rotation. 49.55 for Michigan State, 49.675 from Illinois. They're able to notch down that lead a little bit. Michigan State, quite a bit of a lead, almost 7/10. But they're not really in a position to be comfortable. Balance beam, anything can happen. No reason to be content now. Go in, do their beautiful beam like they can. Super confident and be aggressive.
I mean, with
things can happen on beam at any given moment.
There's Mia Takakawa there, not too far away from a perfect 10 to end things out. We've seen that a couple of times from her in her career.
9.975. She did have her series. I still am wondering how she didn't fall off the beam. She covered it so well. She didn't wobble, but the back handspring just was a little bit, I don't want to say wonky, but it was wonky. So I could see why the judge maybe didn't see it as a deduction because she didn't wobble. She saved it so well, but it's not the way she normally would do that skill. It was a little bit sideways, so definitely reasonable half-tenth to take, but it was a really well-done beam routine. Certainly the best of the rotation.
For those keeping score, by the way, for both of these teams, it was a 9.825 that was dropped. There is one score dropped for each of these rotations, and it was Abby Miller's 9.825. She is an all-arounder, so that score will still count for her, of course, and then it was Delaney Harkness's 9.825, and we were thoroughly impressed by her routine. So, I mean, just so much, just fireworks, if you will, in rotation number 3. And with how much we see on the floor from the Illini, I imagine that those are going to continue here at Huff Hall. But you see it on your screen. It's a 0.675 margin they still have to make up. So plenty of work still to be done.
Gianna Khalifi leading off for Michigan State. She is one of my favorite beam workers in the NCAA. It's unfortunate she's leading off only because the judges tend to be a little bit apprehensive at the beginning, but it really shouldn't matter, but it seems to. But she is such a confident beam worker, so composed, and really rarely makes mistakes.
She was the title winner at their Big Five. A 9.925 is what she earned to take the acclaim.
That's a triple series, 2 back handsprings into a layout step out, and confidently finished. You know, she knew she was on in the second back handspring. Super well done. Yeah, I believe they led off the meet on balance beam. She was the first competitor on beam and held throughout the entire meet. That just shows just kind of who she is as a competitor. It's an interesting leap combination. Switch leap into a tuck full into a beat jump. Didn't quite hit the tuck jump position as you need to. You need to get the knees at least to a 90 degree, like horizontal with your hips. So they might gave her the judges a little bit of a room deduction, but super solid otherwise, but it's worth a lot. So she's already getting off the beam. Cartwheel gainer full, little bit chest forward, but a stuck landing, and what a lead off for Michigan State on the balance beam. They were very happy with that. Channing 10. Probably wouldn't have been a 10 for me, but
not taking it easy certainly are the
absolutely
Spartans.
not. They're not letting the foot off the gas. They should not. With Mia Takakawa coming up on the floor exercise, career high 9.925 for her. I love the choreography and performance quality of this routine. She's really coming into her own this senior year, getting very comfortable performing for a crowd. Mixed around her passes a little bit. Going to start off with a Rudy into a split jump. And it was beautiful. Traveled a little bit farther on the split jump than maybe she would have wanted, but super good height.
The hip-hop dance background that both of these coaches possess. Natalie Walsh, in this instance for the Illini, will be on full display throughout these routines here.
Absolutely. Going into a round-out double pike. She doesn't use a back handspring like a lot of athletes do. Interesting what the judge is going to do with that. So there's actually no guideline for how large the lunge can be. It's just whether or not it's controlled. So I don't believe it showed control, but there won't be a deduction for how large the lunge was. But super well done leap. She does overturn into the second one a little bit. You'll see some athletes do that. Her switch side kind of merged into her second split full, so that could be cause for deduction, but you cannot tell me those weren't 180 degrees. Going to finish off here with her combination pass, a 1.5 into a front layout. She did unfortunately fall on it against Ohio State, but brought it back for the Big 5 meet, so hopefully she can get it done, tighten her core, and she does. Really well done. A little bit of a crossover step, but covers it well. It's an important leadoff routine because Gianna Khalifi just came in with a 9.925 in her own right as a leadoff. So super impressive start for the Michigan State Spartans.
You continue to read my mind, Connor. It was indeed a 9.2 for Mia Takakawa. Uncharacteristic from her against Ohio State. She responded with a 9.85 in Lincoln a few days ago. But as you said, Michigan State not taking their foot off the gas pedal, off to a strong start over on the beam, and they'll hope to continue that through Nikki Smith as she concludes her all-around campaign.
Nikki Smith is a big beam worker. She gets some height on these tumbling elements. Really nice backhanding layout step on. Everyone should pay attention to her dismount. Dismounts with a double tuck, which is an E-valued skill, super hard to stick, so you don't see a lot of people take the risk. Switch leap was a bit short of the 180-degree split, so the judges might take a bit of a deduction there, but no wobbles or waivers.
9.825, by the way, for Mia Takakawa.
Not a bad starting number at all. Everybody after that are some strong floor workers, and I would expect those scores to grow. Full turn, maybe a slight waiver. Some judges might give her the benefit of the doubt, but it wasn't absolutely perfect. You're ready for that big dismount. Doing a harder dismount means she doesn't have to do as much on the beam, but massive round off double tuck, and she drilled it. Had to fight to keep her feet down, so they might take a deduction for that, but going for that E dismount, much harder to stick than perhaps Gianna Khalifi's gainer fall off the side. So really appreciate her taking that risk that you don't need to do and sticking it.
A reminder that she is a freshman, Nikki Smith, and the fight that she shows on that dismount, one of the many reasons they're so excited to have her on this Spartan side. And
I appreciate the audacity. It's awesome.
Now for the Illini, it's Julia Waite. Be the second one here in this final rotation.
Yeah, she had a little bit of a hiatus from the floor lineup, but back in, showing off that she's deserves to be here in her senior season. Going to start us off with a nice double pike. And perfect control, kept that foot planted immediately into the choreography. Nikki Smith, score came in as a 9.9, well deserved, and a 1.5 front layout. Lacked a little bit of control. You see that back foot did come up off the ground, but super powerful tumbling nonetheless. She does a more unique jump combination. There's a wolf jump step out into her tourgite half, also known as the strug. Pretty well done. Maybe it was just shy of the 180-degree split, but she cleverly does it down the direction where the judges aren't on the side. There's a lot of strategy going into what corner you use, what skills you do in what direction, especially on floor. So interesting to see the Illini utilize some of that.
Okay, for her final pass here, Julia Waite.
A big double tuck here, get her chest up, and another solid landing. This will be a good score. Really well done. She shorted her block a little bit, didn't get her arms all the way up. I was worried she was going to be short, but in her experience, she pulled it right around with really a perfect landing. That's going to be, I would expect, at least a 9.825, perhaps higher on the for her score.
One of the more experienced Illini, a senior this year of Naperville, Illinois, Julia Waite. Not a bad performance there. Now coming up,
Delaney Harkness.
Delaney Harkness indeed.
A beautiful beam worker. Casual full turn, super well done. We'll see some athletes do that at the first, get it out of the way, so you're not worrying about the easier stuff, or you'll do it at the end after you get all your hard stuff out of the way. It's all personal preference. But here's her combination, back handspring to layout step out.
Makes it look
slight waiver, but super floaty and excellent form throughout. .985 in for Julia Waite, so does notch above Mia Takakawa's starting score. 2 switch leaps in a row with a
Harkness
sizable bobble. The small bobbles will be half a tenth. Anytime you have to lift your foot like that or break at the hips, it'll be more a tenth. Major wobbles can be up to 3. She also didn't quite hit 180 degrees on those leaps, so it could be a couple deductions there, but nice cat leap into a side area 1.5, and manages the stick. That is a tough combination. As I mentioned, the rule changed on the balance beam. A lot of people did that into just a full twist, but they wanted to see a C dismount, and she did the 1.5. Looks like that right foot actually might have shuffled, but she fought really well to keep it down. Looks like there is a lineup change for the Illini. Tali Jolson has gone in.
It is, in fact, Tali Jolson, the freshman this year.
Seems
Jolson
Abby
of
Miller
Seattle
is subbed out of the floor lineup. Tali Jolson has done some incredible floor routines this year, and that was a big double pike. She is just a ball of energy, so fun to watch. She's super bouncy, just watching this floor routine. Sees massive leaps, switch side into the popa. That double pike, she kicked out a little bit early, really wanted that perfect landing, but ended up being a touch short. Hopefully she can really settle in on these final 2 passes, because Michigan State is not taking their foot off the gas. Maybe a little bit of a waiver in Harkness's beam, but they're going to need more than just a wobble for the Illini to capitalize on. But coming off here, a nice 1.5 twist into a front layout. Tight in her core, and that looked like it was going to be a little bit short, but she stayed tight. An incredibly strong athlete, and she got it done. She has really good technique on that. You can watch, she actually spots over her shoulder to watch the ground, so she knows exactly where her feet need to be for the combination. It's really impressive use of technique. I know Ross Thompson, first-year assistant coach, really emphasizes that.
So you saw Harkness's 9.875 from the beam.
Bit surprised by that number, but she was a very good beam worker. Nice double tug, a little bit insecure on the landing, but definitely not a bad floor set for Tali Jolson at all.
She's been kind of their floor specialist in her freshman campaign. Took a couple of weeks out of the lineup for scoring.
Yeah, I know she crunched her ankle a couple weeks, so she was just letting that rest, struggling to kind of get confident again, but able to sub in for Abby Miller today. Skyla Schulte next on the balance beam, and she is a beautiful balance beam worker again, as was the entirety of the Michigan State lineup.
It'll suspend Abby Miller's all-around campaign, by the way. She does have the team shirt on, so just the final sign that her day is done on competition. So maybe a little disappointing for her. Meanwhile, the Spartans looking to finish strong here on the beam.
You know, it's a very long season. Illinois knows the position they're in is a tough one, so letting some athletes rest perhaps that normally are in their top lineup, and let people like Tali Jolson have a shot to go and earn their way back into the lineup. 9.775 through for Tali. Just a couple short landings, just insecure. Nothing wrong with the actual technique and, you know, quality of the passes. Just a couple more routines under her belt, she'll be there. But watch this beautiful floaty back handspring layout step up from Skyla, and not a waiver.
Just
this routine
full self-control.
Is stunning so far. Not a single deduction I can spot. Nice switch leap into the gainer full, maybe a bobble, but gets that stuck landing. So I was gonna say that could have been 10 bound before that slight bobble, but they still also have some stunning beam workers in Gabby Stephen and Bailey Garcia to anchor out that lineup.
Yeah, that's not bad at all from Skyla Schulte. It'll be Rutuja Nadaraj, the sophomore, up next on the floor here.
Rutu is showcasing a relatively new first pass. We saw a few of them from the Michigan State lineup. A full twisting double back. Was able to get it in the lineup earlier this year at the Metroplex Challenge in Texas. See how she does. Needs a lot of power, get her chest up tall. And chest was a little bit forward on the landing, but was a secure lunge. She's gonna do a triple leap combo, switch ring, switch half into the wolf full. She's got some very good leaps. She's only going to do a 2-pass routine. You saw a couple of them for Michigan State as well. Between that incredibly difficult first pass and the 3 leaps in a row, she's able to just get away with just doing a front layout to front full here. Nice and tight. A little bit of a bobble on that second pass, just mistimed her punch and wasn't quite ready for the floor. Illinois struggling to put their passes down, not for lack of power, but just a little bit.
Might be
bobbles.
too much power.
Yeah, in a lot of cases, and just mistiming their kickouts, or not quite sure where the floor is, and you know, being tired. They just had a competition. You're not as fresh, even in your mind, your legs, whatever it may be, and things just feel different. You might not be entirely prepared today, but still a very well done floor routine.
We'll await the results for Nataraj. In the meantime, it looks like it's Gabby Stephen up next as the penultimate scored routine here.
I love Gabby Stephen on the balance beam. She does a really difficult acrobatic element. We saw Rutu do a front aerial. She's going to do a front aerial, but land on 2 feet at once. Right here, it's incredibly hard, and like it was nothing. That's an E skill worth 2/10. Super well done.
For everything that Illinois has done right in these last couple of rotations, Michigan State has been able to match them, and through Gabby Stevens, this could potentially be the dual ceiling routine here.
Absolutely. She's got a nice, really difficult acrobatic series as well. Nice back handspring layout step out. A little bit of a bobble, but nobody does it higher than Gabby Stephen. Do a beat jump into a straddle with a half, leg up check there. A couple bobbles here and there, but with the lead that Michigan State has built, does not matter. She'll put down this beautiful double twist dismount that she sticks every time. Never seen her take a hop on it. It's beautiful. So that will seal the win for Michigan State. Not only that, but also the regular season Big Ten title. So super impressive year for them. Massive upset at home against Michigan, their first in quite a long time. But we're going to pivot over to Caden Fitzgibbon, excuse me, and she made her Illini floor debut at the Big Five and led the team with a 9.875. So super impressive to see her jump in the lineup and do so well. As a sophomore, was injured last year. Happy to see her make some lineups. She's an incredibly powerful athlete. Another 2-pass routine. She's going to start off with a front layout to Rudy. Get some pretty well done. Rudy did not get as much lift off the floor as the judges are looking for. It kind of dumped forward. I've seen her do some higher ones, but controlled landing for sure.
You wonder if, having just watched that previous routine, if a little bit of pressure has been eased on Caden Fitzgibbon with this one being just a little bit out of reach. Maybe it gives her that.
Absolutely. Momentum is a real thing in gymnastics. When you watch your teammate do an amazing routine before, it wills you on. It really gives you an extra layer of confidence, and it matters, absolutely. So seeing a couple weaker routines before, it makes harder, but she made it work. That was a beautiful high double pike. She sets for about 3 seconds before she grabs her legs, and it is super impressive. I don't know if anybody did a higher one in this building today. Really good finish. Just a small deduction on the layout into the Rudy.
So with that, we're going to see Bailey Garcia for the first and only time today for the Spartans. Anchor things for the balance beam and for the day for the Michigan State Spartans.
And she is really a beam specialist. She does do other events. We've seen her in previous seasons, but this is her event. She is super well done on a couple of these skills, you'll see, but some massive all-around scores for their 3 all-arounders. Pair of 39. Oh my goodness.
Well, I was just about to say that the current 197.45 for the Spartans puts them at 3rd all-time, and not at all far away from the 197.65 they just set as a program record last weekend. That fall probably takes them out of contention for it, but the 197.45 for this team, again, to be confirmed, but another unbelievable score.
Yeah, my jaw is on the floor. I've not seen Bailey Garcia fall on a beam set really ever, and you can see it on her face. That is just not something that she is used to doing. She holds herself to a insanely high standard, as most athletes do. But you can just see through her leaps and the quality of her work and the movement. She's so confident up there, willing to perform rather than just kind of do a series of skills together. She's going to finish up here, back handspring gainer full, and gets a stick. You can see the content of that routine is superior quality. Unfortunately, it was just off today, and that happens. Unfortunately, in the sport of gymnastics, you can't be perfect every day.
You can see she's definitely disappointed there, again, with such a high standard. 2nd place jointly just this past weekend with a 9.9. If it's any consolation for Garcia, she tends to put it together in the biggest moments. She had a 9.95, her career high at the regionals last year. So definitely still a high-level competitor. Now for Mia Towns to close out scoring today.
This is such a fun routine. Super, just makes me smile every time I watch it. co-choreographed herself with the assistant of head coach Natalie Walsh. She's going to start off with a front double twist. She struggled on it a little bit of warm-up and in some competitions this year. This one was pretty darn good. Maybe a little bit short on the twist, but puts her crown on for the remainder of this routine.
That mat, by the way, while we saw it, that one will be taken away before the postseason, or can you have it in the postseason?
Women's gymnastics, you're allowed a mat throughout the entirety of the season. It's for safety reasons. They permit it. You can only have, I believe it's 2 on the floor at once, but you're allowed to have it on as much as you like. This is a finishing pass, 1.5 full, and you can see that 1.5 just didn't quite finish. Not enough rotation to continue into the full twist. It's a very uncharacteristic mistake for Mia Towns. Usually she is on that pass. But such a complete performance by her. She is coming for some big numbers. She's got a career high 9.95. Coming for that 10. She can put it all together in these coming weeks. Finishing, she's got some big leaps. Tour jeté half into the popa.
Good stuff there from Mia Towns to close things out. Another one of these athletes that has competed in every meet she's been eligible for. She had a bit of a scare earlier this season.
Yeah.
She cramped up in the middle of her floor routine here at Huff Hall.
Had to stop after her first pass. Couldn't flex her foot. Made it quite difficult to continue. But
so we've just seen it. It's a 9.35 for Bailey Garcia. So again, that will be the dropped score. We're gonna see an exhibition here from Nia Smith, the older of the Smith sisters.
Interested to see what goes with Mia Towns' floor score. She did do that second skill in that pass that she struggled on in the tuck position a little bit. So the judges could count that as a lower start value skill. So she might not start from a 10. Seems like one judge gave it to her. I'll be intrigued. You could give it a layout skill with bent knees or give it the tucked skill credit, depending on how bent the knees were. Super nice beam routine so far from Nia Smith. Once again, just a testament to their depth as a team. They've got options seemingly for days on every single event. Their exhibitions have been unbelievable quality on every single event. Nice switch leap, into straddle quarter. Oh, that is unfortunate. It's a choreography wobble. Those are rare, but they do happen. The choreography is a big part. The whole performance is what scores well. So, and the Smith sisters love a double back off beam, and that was super, super well done.
Well, she had a bit of a smile on her face, the wry smile after the mistake, but
maybe a silly mistake, but if you don't put your confidence or your concentration on every single part of the performance, stuff like that will happen.
And if you're going to have that mistake, I mean, that's the time to do it.
Yeah, but the actual gymnastics content of that routine was superb.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this may be the final routine of the day.
It should be with Aaliyah Byrne.
It'll be through Aaliyah Byrne, the freshman of Frisco, Texas, here today.
She's going to show us a combination 2.5 into punch pike, and it was pretty darn well done. A little bit of a leg separation at the end, but Aaliyah Byrne was a highly touted freshman. She is a 2-time consecutive national champion on the floor exercise in the junior ranks. So super impressive that Illinois is exhibitioning a national champion on floor. It's a hard lineup for people to crack because they are just so consistent with the likes of Mia Towns, Mia Takakawa, Rutu Nataraj, but this is a pretty beautiful routine. Smartly constructed 2-pass routine. And she is a bundle of joy to watch. She loves the performance. Really, really fun to watch. All of these routines, I've enjoyed what Natalie Walsh has come up with this year. Going to finish off with a double pike. Got to get her chest up. Sometimes she can be a little bit short like that one. Unfortunately, just a little bit slow out of the back handspring. Really, at the end of the night, it's been a long day of gymnastics. They just had a competition on Friday, so not entirely surprising if they're a little bit tired, but they get a nice couple days off of rest until they head back out this weekend.
So with that, Aaliyah Byrne is going to close it out for the Illini. There will be one last routine for the Spartan. It's going to be Jory Jackard once more here on the balance beam to wrap things up here at Huff Hall today.
You know, Jory Jackard's been a mainstay in their bar lineup. It's awesome to see her starting to break into some other lineups. Such an important part of this Michigan State team. Really has been integral into their building years. Unfortunate.
From that one.
Yeah.
Looked like you're sliding as she
that
landed.
Foot. If your foot is off the beam, it is pretty hard to save. But it was a really nice back handspring layout step out. Nice switch leap. into the straw quarter, a little bit cautious following that fall. It's really interesting to see because these exhibitions, though having falls or mistakes, the quality of the gymnastics in it is just so high. So getting that mental game, that concentration, and being able to handle the nerves of a meet is basically that last step for them, because clearly the technique and the skills that they're choosing are very good for them. They are really, really talented athletes and well-constructed routines by the coaches. So as soon as they can get that confidence up and really just be able to do the skills to the best of their ability, like I'm sure they do in practice, be a big step for them. They'll show the depth that Michigan State truly has. The future is bright for this Spartan program. Another good recruiting class coming for next year, and a Gainer Pike off the end. Maybe a somber end for the Michigan State beam lineup with a couple mistakes there, but that does not take away from the massive 197.45 that they scored and earned today, following when they just had a program record on Saturday. So nearly two identical performances, just a couple tenths off that program high. And you can see those Spartans are super happy.
I mean, they put together yet another fantastic performance. We're going to await the final confirmed scores, but
those are Big Ten regular season champions. They've earned that trophy, earned that ring at the end of the season. Hopefully they can add the conference champions at the Big Ten tournament or Big Ten championships in a couple weeks.
So as we await those final tabulations, we're going to get those final scores. We're going to take one last break and hop back on one last time here at Huff Hall. But the way things look, Michigan State gets yet another win over the Illinois Fighting Illini here at Huff Hall. But we'll be right back in just a moment with those final event scores. We welcome you back to Huff Hall here at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. The visiting Michigan State Spartans get the win over the Illinois Fighting Illini, 13th ranked Spartans with a second straight big time score, very nearly their program best once more, their 197.45, bettering Illinois' 196.425. So as we get set for event winners here, we'll get one last highlight reel for you. I mean, from start to finish, Michigan State just at a top level.
Yeah, absolutely. They have shown time and time again, this and last season, that they are a top quality team. I mean, super, super impressive. Start to finish, really just, they came out swinging from the beginning, and they didn't let up really the entire day. Beautiful uneven bars, massive vaults. I mean, only a 49 one-on vault. That did not encapsulate the quality of vaults we saw today. And then floor was absolutely stunning. 49.55 is incredibly impressive. They have massive power. You know, the gymnastics quality and choreography and everything they offer is just overflowing from that Michigan State team, and then Beam did not let up for a second. One fall at the end, but it did not matter for the Michigan State Spartans. They came in, they conquered a tough road environment, they won, and they can now call them the Big Ten regular season champions.
They are indeed. The Michigan Wolverines did win against the University of Nebraska Cornhuskers, and so the two resident Big Ten schools in Michigan will share the title, but it'll certainly be a big-time acclaim for this Michigan State team. In addition to the body of work they've put in, obviously, with everything that's happened in the past couple of weeks in the wake of the on-campus tragedy, for them to respond, and they are certainly not done with this Big Ten regular season title. They are going for that Nationals run, and they are certainly capable of competing really at the highest levels of this sport. So we're eagerly awaiting the event winners. We do have those scores before us. We'll announce it basically as PA goes, and Harkness with a 9.875 in third, Jory Jackards 9.9 flat in second, and Delaney Harkness with a 9.925 to win the Bars title. Now, speaking of sweeps, it was just about that for Illinois, a three-way tie for third place. Gianna Khalifi's 9.925, all that the Spartans had on the beam. It was an unbelievable rotation for Illinois.
For both teams. I mean, sixth place was a 9.9. The top five athletes, they all went 9.925 and above, and they were incredible routines. Looking at Mia Takakawa doing her usual 9.975 near perfect routine, but Mallory Mizuki coming out with a 9.95. Really well done. Rutu Nataraj really coming into her own on balance beam this year. Wasn't as confident as a competitor on this event last year, but this year is showing off her confidence. 9.925, beautiful routine, stuck dismount. And then Amelia Knight showing off what she's very capable of, but career high 9.925. It was an incredible rotation. Shows that Illinois has some talent. They just need to be able to put together, get that confidence, and hopefully they'll be able to peak at the right time going into the Big Ten Championship and then regionals.
It's nothing that you can even attribute to judging on the balance beam. It really was just that.
It was incredible. There was hardly a wobble from either team, and a ton of stuck dismounts.
And then it was a high-powered floor routine rotation for the Michigan State Spartans that helped close things out. The Illini's best scores held by two of them, Julia Waite and Kaden Fitzgibbon, with a pair of 9.85s. Fitzgibbon just a little bit down in her second ever appearance on the floor. I mean, that's just spectacular run for Fitzgibbon. But after that, the top four all Spartans. Khalifi actually also had a 9.85, tied for fifth, and then tied for second, Gabby Stephen and Skylas Schulte with 9.925s. Nikki Smith's near perfect 9.975. Capping an unbelievable run.
It was a stunning floor routine. They have incredible power, so many E-passes, and their performance quality is out of this world. And their preparation, I keep saying it, but they land so much better than other teams. They clearly are well capable of doing the passes they're doing. They're coming out and doing routines that they prepare for. They are stickers, truly. The conditioning, whatever it may be, I want to know the floor workouts that the Michigan State coaching staff comes up with, because it prepares them for competition, and it shows week in and week out.
Well, you can see it on your screen there. They get the win here today. And with Michigan's victory over Nebraska, Michigan and Michigan State are joint champions of the Big Ten regular season for women's gymnastics. So unbelievable performance. Michigan State will be lifted by that victory over the Michigan Wolverines over in East Lansing earlier this year. But there you go on your screen, the Michigan State Spartans 2023 co-Big Ten regular season.
And there we go. You'll see they're bringing out the trophy. They had it on hand here in Champaign. So well deserved, so impressive for the Michigan State Spartans. Their rise to the top of the Big Ten and into the national rankings. Just a few years ago, you wouldn't have found this team in the top 36. Seeing what Mike Rowe has been able to do with this program in terms of recruiting, maybe not the same tools that the big flashy gyms that the SEC schools will have, but he has worked hard on the ground game, looking at some incredible athletes he's gotten to come to Michigan State, and it's shown off in the past 2 seasons. Their rise has been so impressive, and they can hang with just about any team in the country with the quality of gymnastics we saw tonight.
They have been through incredible adversity as they've grown these last few years, and then a couple of weeks ago saw a whole new type of challenge, and they have risen to every single occasion, and then with a couple of program-defining victories just in the last couple of days alone, the Michigan State Spartans rewarded for it absolutely, but we'll keep emphasizing it. This is a big trophy. They're going to savor the moment,
Yeah.
but they are not done yet. Far from it for this season. For
Absolutely.
the
They
Spartans.
are just getting started, and it's just another testament to this team, their ability to overcome their resilience. Such a tough, I gotta imagine, past 2 weeks for them to come out swinging with these past 2 meets to the top of the Big Ten. What can you say? It's so impressive.
And just look no further than those last 2 rotations. I mean, I remember it all too well. I will for a long time, and I'm sure a lot of these Spartans and a lot of the spectators here will as well. So with that, that is going to do it for us here at Huff Hall here at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. The Michigan State Spartans, co-Big Ten regular season champions for the 2023 season, get the win over the Illinois Fighting Illini. A big thanks to Connor for joining me on the headset here.
Of course.
For director Emily Ritchie, producer Jordan Adams, our entire Big Ten Plus student U crew here at the University of Illinois, I'm Alec Gilmore. Thank you so much for joining us here for some Monday Night Gymnastics. Have a good rest of your night, everybody.